Welcome to Sib Spot. Today's Reddit stories are from Entitled People. Story 1 is by Snarky Sheep. The Case of the Missing Flowers. About 15 years ago, I worked in an urban adult education center. One spring morning, a few staff members and I were walking in when we realized all our flowers were missing. Like many businesses, we had landscaping done during the springtime to make our place look as nice as it could. We had just had a number of floral bushes, such as azaleas and forsythias, as well as tulips and daffodils, planted along the walkway from the parking lot to the main entrance. And they were all gone. At first, our confused brains thought that some animals had destroyed them overnight, but a closer inspection showed us this couldn't have been the case. All the plants had been cleanly removed in their entirety. No animal could have done that. All of a sudden, my boss started to guffaw. Literally, this huge, unstoppable belly laugh came out. The laugh of a man who had finally witnessed just one crazy thing too many. "Well," he finally managed to gasp out, "I guess somebody just thought our flowers looked better in front of their house." It's been something like 15 years since this occurred, yet each springtime it still pops into mind. Things go missing from the front of people's property all the time, but I've never seen it happen to a business place until now. You would think they'd have some cameras somewhere, some security to catch the thieves. Down in the comments, there were 2 stories that were shared that were pretty interesting. By M. Jakur. A friend of mine is into gardening and plants a lot of bulbs every year. She had bought a large amount and organized them into piles in her garden in preparation for planting them. She went inside to get a glass of water, and through the window she can see an elderly lady walking into the garden with a bag and starting to fill it with her bulbs. She runs outside and confronts her. The lady claims that the bulbs were placed in a way that indicated that they were to be donated and free to grab, and huffs and puffs a lot when forced to return them. She could not understand why that was necessary. And then the same thing happened the year after, during my friend's yearly planting session. There have to be people out there that know if there's ways that you organize bulbs into piles that means they're donated. Because there's so many stories about people leaving bricks like piled on a piece of city property like right next to their house and somebody stealing them, or flowers being taken because they thought they were being donated. Flower pots going missing because they were left in a certain way that people say they were meant to be up for grabs. I don't know. I've never heard of such a thing. There have to be people in cities that know if you leave certain things in a certain way, that means they're up for grabs. Have you guys ever encountered such a thing? And underneath this person's story, by Naren Gim. I work in a garden center and we bust people all the time for trying to take advantage of the 5-fingered discount. The way they know they're busted is when they're charged for 3 4-packs of seedlings rather than 2 because we saw them take a plant from the 3rd 4-pack. We can't sell a 4-pack that's missing plants. We are also the cheapest place in the area. We have people drive over 2 hours to buy from us. Our flats run around $20 for 8 4-packs that you can mix and match annuals and veggies 4-packs. Herbs cost more, so you can't mix those in. We have others that try to do a do-it-yourself color mix of flowers. So they take apart 4 4-packs rather than walk a couple extra steps, or they've walked right by the mixed color 4-packs that the grower already put together. If we catch them in the act, we point out the color mix 4-pack that is often right next to them. If we don't catch them before they've made their own 4-pack, they get charged for all 4 of the 4-packs they disassembled. They really hate it when we do that, but since we started charging them, it's not as frequent. We've had other instances where a lazy customer will take another customer's cart because they've found it all before, so they know where it is, and I don't have time to waste looking. After we've told them that this is someone's cart. Had one try to claim that they thought it was our restock cart until we pointed out the purse and hot pink cane resting in it. We also don't use shopping carts for restock, we use massive rolling shelves instead. As a result, we tell customers to keep their carts with them at all times. I would probably think a cart that was sitting there with nobody near it was a restock cart as well, even if it had personal property on it, because it could be the worker's personal property. But I would absolutely never just take something off somebody else's cart or take somebody's cart without saying, "Does this belong to anybody? Is this your restock cart?" You have to check those things instead of just assuming. Our next story is by Snoo Bunnies 7461. engagement pictures in the daffodils. One of the parks in my area has thousands of daffodils. Each year they bloom and it's beautiful. Lots of people come from all over to take family pictures with the daffodils. Sunday, while strolling around the park, I came upon a 20-some-year-old who was very upset that there were people taking pictures in the area she wanted to take her engagement pictures. She yelled at everyone to get out because they were going to ruin her pictures. Didn't ask, didn't say, please, could you move for a minute or two? Nope. Yelled. There was one guy with his family who replied, I guess this is where we're standing until the park closes, and then invited everyone else to do the same. 20-something said, really? Guy said yes. 20-something walked back to her car in tears with the rest of the family following. Guess yelling at people in a public park didn't turn out too well for her. Nobody cares about your pictures. You're not the main character. If anything, go take your pictures and you'll see people in the background and they'll just add some color to the whole scene. Whining about it and yelling at people to move from your shot, it's over the top. Go somewhere else or rent a place that has a setup for you to take pictures at. And if you can't do that, you're just going to have to wait your turn. Our next story today is by ArchieFem10. Entitled Brother informed me that he would be taking my dog for 3 days without my permission. For those of you who aren't familiar with my stories, I, 31, have a man-child entitled brother who's 26 who lives in the house I co-own with my mom. My mom has told him he has until May 31st to move out. I've been anxiously waiting for him to leave, doing my best to bide my time, but I have finally reached the end of my rope, and for something that I'm not sure is the straw or the log that broke the camel's back. Last night while I was in bed, Entitled Bro informed me he would be taking my dog Spot for 3 days on some fishing trip. I told him there's no way he could do that. He said he wasn't asking, he was telling me. He said he's my dog too, and that he is entitled to take him whenever he pleases. Here's the thing though. 9 years ago, Entitled Brother demanded a dog. I begged my mom not to. He had one previously, but he neglected it, and my mom ended up rehoming it, for which he never let her hear the end of. But of course she caved, and the same problem persisted. Entitled Bro never cared for Spot. I ended up taking over his care, paid for his vet bills, fed him, took him to get groomed, etc. Things came to a head when we had to move in with family members, and they said we were not allowed to bring a dog. Entitled Bro didn't do anything to find Spot a new home. It was my problem. I found him a foster home where I visited him every day after my college classes ended, and was able to get him back 2 years later when we finally had a place to live again. Additionally, when I moved out of my house for a year, Spot went with me. Spot sleeps with me every night and has my name on all his records. He's now 10 and has arthritis. He takes meds for his hips and stomach and needs frequent bathroom breaks. Oh, and he hates the water. So when little bro said he wasn't asking, he was telling me, I knew Spot would be miserable and possibly in pain that whole trip. He hadn't asked or even mentioned taking Spot before, so he's due for a refill on his pills tomorrow. Had I known, I would have gotten the refill sooner. I tried telling him Spot needs a lot of care, and he said, yeah, so just give me everything he needs. And I was so irritated. You wait until the night before to tell me this? Then he said something that made my blood run cold. I could have just taken him and let you panic, but I was being nice telling you ahead of time. That did it. I don't know why, but every alarm bell went off in my head. I grabbed my purse, put on my slippers, and told Spot to get in the car. I drove to my fiancé's house and slept here last night. I was going to move into my fiancé's house this summer, but now I'm asking myself why the heck I'm waiting. Everyone on Reddit keeps asking me why I stay home right now, and I can't remember any of the reasons I had before. I'm done. My mom is staying out of it right now, and I'm glad because I genuinely don't care what she has to say. I know she doesn't want me to go, but I just can't take Entitled Bro's little power trips. He can do whatever he wants to the house, punching holes in the wall, kicking the appliances, calling the house a dump. But I draw the line at him taking my dog without permission. That's my baby, and I'm not going to stand here while he does whatever he wants with my pet when I explicitly told him no, something that he rarely hears. P.S. I occasionally have asked Bro to let Spot out for bathroom breaks since he doesn't work until afternoons, and his response is always, he's too busy to do that. He has given me no reason to trust him to care for my dog, even for a few hours, let alone 3 days on a fishing trip. Edit, brother does not know where fiancé lives, and even if he did, fiancé's 2 huge German shepherds would devour him. Spot definitely sounds like he's your dog in this, but do you really think that your dog would not be comfortable on a fishing trip at 10 years old? Do you even trust that he'd bring him back? I don't know, I guess you can't trust him to take good care of him while he's on this fishing trip. Is it a camping trip or is it just fishing? They're going to go on a boat? They're going to go on the shore? All these things are going through my head. And the only reason I'm wondering that is because I know that dogs love to go on like camping, hiking, fishing trips. Given the chance, they just love the opportunity to be out in the wilderness. And even if they don't jump in the water, they like to be near water, I've found. Down in the comments by Greyhounds for Life 1969. To be honest, it's about time your mother bought you out of the house, or you put it up for sale, then you never have to deal with either of them again. Under that by Pipette 4. She doesn't even have to agree. You can file a partition action, meaning the court will divide the interest of the property, which is often by selling it and splitting the proceeds by interest to the parties. Or even filing it may make your mom want to just buy you out. Either way, you need to not live anywhere with your brother, and seriously, never keep your dog anywhere he can get to him. Under that by Daily Praise. OP, please read this. Tell your mom you're going to file this, and maybe it will get her to get herself in gear and get that horror out of the house. Last post, he was supposed to be gone in 3 weeks. Now it's May 31st. She keeps caving. And under that by Potato Engineer. Partition actions tend to be expensive since you need a lawyer and can't do it in small claims court. It can be worth it, and since your lawyer knows you're getting money on the house, they'd be more likely to work with you on the financing. But it's not fast and it's not cheap. There's not much legal action on the planet that's cheap. Or you're getting a court-appointed person to represent you. Legal action is not cheap. Our stories for today have come to a close until we meet again. Have a light and airy day.